and that's it. That is how we kickstart the show today. This is Entertainment Thursday right here on Good Morning Kenya. This beautiful Thursday morning. I don't know, is it chilly outside? I came here a long time ago. I'm not sure if it's chilly or not, but you can let us know on our social media handles that is at KBC Channel 1, or you can find me across all platforms at Vivian Ndegwa. Now, I am very excited for the interview that we are just about to have. You had us playing Bob Marley, One Love. It is an international song. It is a song that has surpassed generations upon generations. It is a beautiful song. And today in studio, we are going to be having a conversation mainly around Bob Marley. Yes, you heard that right. We have Bob Marley's cousin in the country, and not just in the country, but in our studios today. Yes, he has graced our studios today, and that is James Malcom, also known as Jimmy. Jimmy is in studio. He is Bob Marley's cousin. And accompanying Jimmy is Razak Hassan. Razak Hassan is a producer who is working with the Bob Marley family, and they have a project that we will be talking about in a moment. And from our land, Kenya, we have the one and only Joseph Asikoye of Jabali, Africa. He is not new to our screens. He's been here before, and I am so glad to have you in studio, gentlemen. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'll allow you each to introduce yourselves personally, so that I just don't sell you short. You just tell us more about yourself, beginning with you, Jimmy.
I'm James Malcom. I was born in the United States, but with Jamaican parents. My mother's and Bob Marley's mother, they're sisters. So I grew up in Delaware, but spent a lot of time in Jamaica. So the Jamaican culture is in me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Razak?
My name is Razak. I am a musician, artist, born in Somalia, raised in the U.S., and yeah, working on this project with my brother James over here.
My name is Joseph Asikoye. Some call me Muzi, and I'm from Jabali, Africa, and was born and raised here in Nairobi, and I'm glad to be working with my brothers on this project that we have, that we started working on last year. So this is not the first time Jimmy is coming to Kenya, but Jimmy has been in Kenya, I think 3 or 4 times.
3-4 times.
Yeah.
How are you loving Kenya? Or just if you were asked to describe Kenya, what's the feel when you come to Kenya?
So Kenya has a very familiar vibes to it. You know, I grew up in Jamaica a lot when I was younger, and it reminds me of Jamaica. It has that vibe. The hospitality is beautiful. The people are very welcoming. I really love it. That's why I keep coming back. Yeah.
Razak, you told me off air that you are currently residing in Kenya.
Yes.
Why Kenya?
I just had to come back to this part of the world. I've been gone too long. So I mean, it's I've been in the U.S. since I was 7. So I think at some point I was like, I need to head back to Africa and call it home once again. So yeah, it's my return.
All right. We are glad that you have chosen Kenya as your residence for the moment. Now, we just listened to the song One Love, and I understand that there is a film that is coming out on the 14th of February, that is on Valentine's Day. It's a story of Bob Marley. Just tell me a bit about that.
So I had the privilege of seeing it with the family a couple months back. It's a beautiful movie. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy it. So it's a movie about a certain segment of his life, not the whole, you know, from beginning to end, but a certain segment when they was doing Smile Jamaica. I think that's the name of the concert. It's very educational. I think, you know, a lot of people want to know more about Bob, and I think this movie will introduce them to Bob in a different way.
Did they consult you before, the family, by you I mean the family, before shooting the film?
We was actually in Jamaica for the filming. I was in Jamaica for the filming, along with all of the family. All of Bob's sons and daughters was there. watching everything. So the family approves of everything because they was a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just as I wind up on that, before we get into the journey continues.
Yes.
I saw some people commenting and wondering why we didn't have one of Bob's sons playing Bob Marley in the film.
So I said the same thing, you know, but after watching the movie, at first when I, you know, met him, I said that to myself, but after seeing the movie, he did a great job. And he actually reminded me of one of the grandsons. So I don't know the real reason behind it, but the person who, Kingsley, I think his name is, he did a good job. He did a good job, so.
All right.
Yeah.
The rest of us can't wait to watch that movie. I'm sure we'll be flocking the cinemas on the 14th. Now let's get into why you are in Kenya at the moment, and that is The Journey Continues. You've produced it, Razak? You've produced the album?
No, I'm producing it with Jimmy.
You're producing it with Jimmy.
Yes,
if you can just tell us about The Journey. What is it all about, The Journey Continues? What is it?
Well, The Journey Continues, I started with Jimmy and his close relationship with Bob, his cousin, and I think he would, because the story starts a long time ago, so I think he would be better fit to start that. How the journey started.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, it started with him in a way. Let me explain. No, let me explain. I have to say this because so I used to, you know, I was working with Bob before he passed. I was, you know, I moved to live with him when I was 18, and it's like after Bob passed, I thought that was it. The journey ended, and it actually was just beginning. And years later, I remember I was in the hospital. This is the story. And when I woke up, I remember calling Razak, I got to do this project, you know, because me and Steve and Damien, we did some shows before. I did a show with an orchestra. And the vision hit me very strong, and he's the first person I called and said, we got to do this project. And it just developed over the years and became what it is. What it is a classical rendition of Bob's songs with a full orchestra, using Bob's voice as well, and with accompaniments of different artists. And it's still developing as we speak. We have like 4 songs done now, but the reason why I'm here is working with Razak and working with Muzi to develop it. And I did work with the men's choir. What's the name of that?
The Kenya Boys Choir.
The Kenya Boys Choir.
Yeah,
so my thing was to incorporate the world. Because I was in Germany, I did some stuff there, and you know, my cousin affected the world with his music. So this album I wanted to go to all different places where normally they wouldn't participate in a project like this and have their, you know, have their vibes, have their talent, be a part of it. Yeah.
Just like, how are you involved in this project, and how did you get to settle on who to bring in from the country on this particular project? So
what I did was just to bring these elements. I was like a sous chef, you know. All I had to do is bring ingredients so Jimmy could see, you know, what elements we wanted to incorporate into the project. So Jabali Africa was supposed to do percussions. So when he came in, we recorded some percussions in there, but also as we were working on the project, Jimmy wanted to see more about the other elements. So we went down and saw the acrobats at Sarakasi, because I was looking at how we're going to perform the show. And I brought in like Ninga melodies. That was the male voices. And then I brought in the Kenya Boys Choir. And basically all I did is just to connect the dots in terms of like to bring these elements in front of the chef. So he decides what elements are they going to attach to the project, you know.
Why did you pick those specifics?
Because it was basically, we wanted to showcase Kenya, number one, and apart from that, Jim will tell me, I want a choir. I want a male choir, you know. So, and the only people I could think about was, first of all, I think he was a big fan of the Kenya Boys Choir. I don't know if he probably, I don't know how he knew about them, but he inquired about them. I said, I got a link, and I brought them together, you know? But basically, he started thinking about also the performance. So he said, I want to look at the dancers. I took him to Sarakasi, and he's still looking at other elements. So the final decision comes with him and Razak, you know? Yes.
Razak, what exactly are you looking at? You know, what are you looking to have in The Journey Continues? What is that field that you're looking at?
I think, well, like as Jimmy said, the project is orchestral based. So I mean, obviously that is the canvas that we're working on, and I think it's just we're open to as much talent as the country has to offer. As he said, I think it's as much as this project is about, you know, creating the thing that we want to create, we also want to showcase the talent that the continent has to offer, because it was a big part of Bob's music. And so that's mainly what we're focused on, is just trying to see what the continent has to offer and see how we can incorporate that into what we're doing.
And also, just to, sorry for cutting you, it's also a big honor for the country. I don't know if people know how big or how blessed we are as a country to have this project in the country. They could have gone anywhere else, you know? And, you know, having a Bob Marley project being done in your country is a big honor. We know what Bob stood for. And just to be part of that, you know, just to be considered, you know, even if they took only a small fraction, I think that's a big win for us as a country too. So because Bob is a global icon, and also his message of love was, and he did a lot of stuff, most of the stuff he used to talk about too was a lot about Africa. Bob talked about Africa Unite. Bob sang about Zimbabwe, you know? So all these things, when you look at them, and to be the country that gets representation in a project that Bob is on, I think is a very big honor to the creative ecosystem here, and also for our country as a whole.
For sure, and borrowing on his sentiments, the fact that you chose Kenya to be a part of the countries that you're touring, and part of the countries that you're trying to find a piece to join, to be in The Journey Continues. Just why did you pick Kenya? Okay, we are glad you did, but
so Razak have a lot to do with it because he was here at the time, but actually it's sentimental to me as well. So I used to travel with my aunt, that's Bob's mother, and the first African country we came to was Kenya, and that was in 1995. And ever since that, you know, Kenya stood out to me. And so me and Razak started this project from LA when I was living in LA. He was living there as well. So when he relocated here, it was like, my producer's here, so let me come here. So it was like a double win-win, because I love this country from when I first came. And then the fact that he's here and Muzi's here, it just became a no-brainer. This is where I'm going to start.
And just to let you know, I don't know if you already know, but Kenyans love reggae.
I know.
Kenyans are mad about reggae.
That. And I've been to many countries in Africa and the continent, and this is the one country that I hear reggae every day. I hear reggae everywhere I go, and I can see that the culture is so similar to Jamaican culture. Like we're one family, and I know this is probably where I'm from as well. You know, my ancestors.
You can say that again.
Yeah, I feel the vibes here. I really do.
Yeah. And I love the thought of having an orchestra, you know, like listening to Bob Marley's songs, but with some other feels and an orchestra. Just how did you come to that?
It comes from Jimmy's background, and obviously he's as a musician, he's plays the piano, and his love for orchestra, and it was just a no-brainer, because it's something that hasn't been done and it's his passion as well, and he loves, you know, classical music and such. So it was a no-brainer. It was like, I think it was the thing that was missing from the world. It's like Bob's vocals and his music and his lyrics in a different, you know, in a different setting. So that was the inspiration behind it. Yeah.
So how many countries have you picked, you know, bits and pieces from?
So right now, so this is like the beginning.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of different countries in mind. It's work in progress, actually. So, you know, I started out with an orchestra in Germany. I did some stuff in England as well. Once I hit the continent, like I already did, I'm thinking about a lot of different countries. Like Gambia is in my radar, so is Senegal, and other countries. But it you know, when things were speaking in existence, so it's just happening as we do it.
Brazil is nice.
We're communicating, and I'm working with an orchestra arranger in the U.S. and what's that state? And
Kansas.
So what we're doing is like getting different people, different cultures to be involved in it. It's not just, you know, Africa, it's the world, because you know, Bob affected the world. And like I told you, like when I was young, I started working with him, with his mother, on a project when I was 14 in Delaware. And when I turned 18, that's when I started living with him, working. So I'm taking all of those vibes that I have from working with him. So when I'm in the studio working with his voice, it's very spiritual to me. And I feel that Bob is like picking out the songs, because me and Steve had a list of songs to do. And then Steve said to me, that's, you know, one of his sons, he said, okay, you pick from this list. And I remember when I went to Germany, it's like, none of those songs on the list we picked right away, because it was all the vibes. It was more of a vibes, and just following the vibes, following the, you know, everything. So I think this project has been just happening. Like, you know, you might plan something and it goes a different way, and that's how this project has been developing.
Very organic.
Yeah, very organic.
Yeah. Just like, what exactly does this mean for the country? It's a big project.
It is a big project.
Yeah.
But first of all, the Marley family have a special relationship with Africa, you know? So if you're a big Marley music fan, you see there's a lot of, they talk about Africa a lot. And apart from talking about Africa, they are woke, knowing that this is the origin of all music, you know? And as I was mentioned before, Bob talking about Africa Unite, you know? Up to now, would like to see Africa unite, you know? Bob talked about this way back, you know? And right now, you see, in Africa, we have to understand we are one people, you know? When it talks about one love, you know? Zimbabwe, when you're getting our independence, when Zimbabwe was getting their independence, you know? So to me, it's a special project, knowing that it's like Bob has come home, you know? And choosing Kenya to be part of that journey, you know? We look at it in a way whereby Bob has come back home, you know?
Razak, what's the importance of infusing all these cultures together to just bring one, you know, one amazing project, but not from just one side of the country, not one side of the continent, not one side of the world, but just fusing, you know, all these cultures together, because those are many cultures. The countries that he's mentioned are many. So what's the importance of just having that?
I think the importance of that is having a proper representation for an icon, for a legend who truly represented all of that. And I think the best way to do that is to involve the world and the people that he has touched. So I think that is the importance of it. I think it's the only way to get this project done is to involve that many people, that many cultures, and have a great representation of his work.
Yeah. And I saw you, I don't know if you're the one who took them to Kibra.
Yeah.
We have those clips, by the way, or I believe they should be showing on our screens any minute from now. You were in Kibra. What were you doing in Kibra?
Jimmy wanted to go and offer, like, he wanted to go and see the real, like, I'll say, wanted to go to, like, a place that is in need. And we were privileged to visit a school in Kibra called Mogoso. And those kids touched us in a very special way. And there was a kid there that was a musician. He used to, like, they used to share an instrument, like a keyboard. So, and Jimmy came through and we bought them some instruments. And actually Jimmy was teaching him how to play the piano. The kid was very good, but he didn't have his own. So he blessed the kid with a keyboard that he could keep at home and practice every day. But it's more like when you look at the life also in Jamaica, you know, we have ghettos everywhere. The reggae started in the ghetto, you know. So, and sometimes I think we should also, like, when you have, it's always like to, also it's always very important for us to look at the less privileged ones in the community. So we visited Kibra, but it was more, we were going to the school, Mogoso, and it really touched us.
No, those kids were amazing.
Yeah, those kids were amazing. We sang with them, and you know, also personally, I'm very passionate about family music, you know. When I say family music, is music for the children and all that stuff. So being in Kibra was eye-opening too for him, but also it has a little resemblance too of Trenchtown, you know? Yeah. So, and it's always important for us to, our stories are the same. There's a ghetto in every city, even in America there's a ghetto. So
definitely.
Yeah, so we should not, the thing is, like, we wanted to go give hope to those kids too. We wanted to tell them, like, it's not where you're from, but where you're going, you know? So it was also a mission for us to give them a little hope and just tell them you can also make it, you know?
Yeah, that is beautiful. And on that note, we take a short break. Don't you go too far. We'll be back to go on with this conversation. Welcome back. This is Good Morning Kenya Entertainment Thursday, and we are glad that you have chosen us to start off your morning. Now, before we went on that break, we had just seen clips of Josek and Razak and Jimmy in Kibra, and Josek actually mentioned that, you know, Jimmy got to teach, you know, a child there how to play the piano, and you actually gave out some pianos over there, some keyboards.
I did.
What does that mean for you?
Wow, it's very special to me because, you know, I'm affected by and I'm inspired by the kids as well. So me and Ray and Muzi, we decided, okay, we have to give some keyboards. I've been doing that for years. So to leave the keyboard, and I want a chance to go back to that school and see the progress of the kids that's utilizing the keyboards. But it means a lot to me to be a part of giving and inspiring the kids, because that's we're actually passing the torch to them. So as older musicians, elder musicians, it's our duty to pass down for the next generation. Yeah. And
now that you've mentioned that to you, Razak, and also Josek, what's the importance of not gatekeeping? You know, not gatekeeping and saying that, you know, we're the ones who are here, we're the ones who should know this, we're the only ones. You know, just passing it down to the next generation. What's the importance of doing that for the industry as a whole? I must start with you.
Yeah, no, that is a very important point. I think there's no growth if there is no passing down. If there's no passing of the torch, then you know, it's stagnant.
There's no future.
So there's no future. There's no progress in music. So real artists, real musicians, you know, real people who are of that community, they know that it's at some point you have to groom the next generation so that it's passed on, just like with anything else. So.
And they have to be groomed right.
They have to.
Like it's not only grooming. Sometimes I know they see. Sometimes children or the younger generation see how we move. A good example, I'll give you a good example again. I just go back to the Marley stable. You look at them, daddy, the sons, now is the grandchildren, you know, and they are all having the same vibe that Bob had. You see, when you see them, you see Bob. Every time you look at a Marley, you see Bob, and the message is always the same, you know. You find that their message is all the same. It's all positivity. It's about love and about good vibes, you know. So it's important for us to nurture the next generation. And the same thing even here in Kenya, that's what we're doing. Coming back, you know, being in the diaspora for a while, coming back here. So what we're doing is like, we're trying to empower these young musicians and the young generation. Remember, I came here with Tambua.
Yeah.
You remember that project?
Yes, yes.
Same thing, you know. When I came here with Tambua, I came here with young artists that we are still mentoring too. So, and we're trying to tell them, you don't have to, there's some things that you see in the industry, it's very easy for them to fall off, you know? So trying to help them write conscious music, help them also come with positivity that affects the community in a certain way, you know? And from the example I gave you from the Marley family, you see, we've seen that their message has always been the same, from the father to all the rest of the generation.
Yeah, as he's saying, your kind of music, by you I mean the entire family, it's conscious music. Is that, do you do it intentionally? Is that something that is intentional for the entire family knowing that that was what Bob used to do?
Yeah, so I think it's passed down because my grandfather was, you know, they used to make guitars. My grandfather and his brothers gave Bob his first guitar. That's what I heard. And my mother sings, my aunt sing. I think it's from the ancestors. You know how you pass down, like, and then Bob is passing down and we're continuing. But it's a very spiritual connection. It's a very spiritual family, you know, who know the priorities in life. So it reflects in our music, it reflects in Bob's music. So yeah, I think it's just being conscious and be conscious of what you sing about and what you write about, because we want to inspire and we want to set an example as who we are to the youth that are listening to what we do. Yeah.
And just how does it feel, seeing that over the years, you know, Bob has remained an icon. Over the years since he passed on, people are still vibing to his music. The name Bob Marley is a name that is really, really big. I don't know if there's anyone who's never heard of that name, Bob Marley. Just how does that make you feel personally as Jimmy?
So I say this a lot. Like, I didn't see Bob as the icon that he is. I see it through people. I see it through the fans. I remember when I was younger and I started to listen to, you know, I fell in love with Bob's music, and when I would go visit him, I would see him as cousin. But I feel really great, you know, all these years pass and his name is really, you know, massive. I feel proud to be a representative that continues his voice and continues the journey. That's why the journey continues, and it continues with us. Yeah.
I love that. What does it take, Razak, if I may ask, what does it take to be such an icon? Maybe. Being that you're a producer, you may.
That is a big question.
An icon in the sense that you make music that is timeless. As a producer, just how do you go about that? How do you go about making music that is timeless, music that will surpass you, music that will go on from generations to generations even after you're no longer there?
Yeah, I think it starts with an artist being true to themselves. right? And doing the things that they truly feel. I think it starts with that, and I think the rest is God-given talent. It's something that's anointed to a person. But I think it's as an artist, as a musician, it's just being true to your craft. Yeah.
Just like as an artist, is that something you have in mind when making music? Do you think I want this music to live on?
Yes, it's a dream of every artist to be remembered in a positive way. And sometimes when you write, when you write music that talks about situations that are real, or it comes from that special place, it becomes special, you know. And that formula has never died from time immemorial. When Stevie Wonder was singing Happy Birthday to Martin Luther King, it was just a happy birthday song, but we didn't know it was going to surpass, you know, that time. So every situation that you're going through, somebody else is going to go through the same situation. So, and if you're writing about a certain situation, it will serve its purpose. I gather a lot of inspiration from such artists. For example, even him, the music that they made, you know, Razak, they made global music. He performed with Kanan for a very long time. I met him through that touring circuit. And I'll say, when they were making the music, like when they were making Waving the Flag, for example, it's a song about Somalia and all that, but it resonated with the people in a different way, you know? So, and up to now, it's still timeless. So, same thing, Marley music is timeless, because he wrote about situations that were real, and if you listen to it, the music is always inspiring up to today. And we're gonna like die and leave the music still inspiring other generations. So it's a very special place to be when you put up music that can surpass generations and also inspire generations that even don't know, they were not here when you existed.
Yeah, that must be magical, for lack of a better word. Now, as we wind up with this interview, maybe when is the project expected to be out?
So right now we're still in production. We're hoping for later this year. A lot of activities are going on right now as far as traveling and developing. It's hard to give a date because we did at one point, and that date is yesterday. We'll keep you posted. Actually, we'll keep you posted. We're probably going to come back and say hi.
We definitely want to have you back when the project is out. You're very much welcome. Your parting shot, Razak?
Sorry?
Your parting shot.
I'm happy to be in Africa. I'm happy to be in Kenya. I really, I'm inspired every day by this country and by this continent. And I'm excited for the future, and I'm excited for what's happening as a whole, for the whole continent.
Awesome.
I'll say, you know, same thing, Africa Unite, you know. Bob Marley said Africa Unite, and I think the dream of Kwame Nkrumah and the Pan-Africanist has not been achieved yet. It would be nice to see Africa unite, you know. And I'll also extend gratitude to my brother Jimmy and Razak, especially Jimmy, for choosing to come through and doing this project in this country, you know. So we know the impact of this project. Sometimes we don't take those things for granted. And just on behalf of the East Africans, the Africans home and abroad, thank you very much, Jimmy, for bringing this project here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for that as well. As I ask you now, as we finish for real, what is your greatest memory with Bob Marley? If you may just get us into
that. So many memories. Wow. So I remember, well, this memory I talked about before. We was, you know, Ziggy, Steve, we was all together one day, and we all wanted to go out and get something to eat. So Bob took us, and I remember Bob said, where Unawanga eat, you know? And every one of us said a different place. And, you know, Bob took the time to take us to each individual place. I remember that, and that's the type of character that he had. And it's like when I think of these memories, you know, I pass it down by talking to the grandkids about it. But that's a very strong man. And another memory I have with him, one day, I picked him up from the airport, and when we got to the house, he loved the way I play. And he said, Jimmy, play the piano. And I started playing the piano, but he walked away while I was playing, and I heard him talking, so I stopped. And I remember him running back out and said, didn't we tell you to stop? You know, and then from that day, it learned me a lesson. When you're playing, it's the atmosphere vibes, and it's the healing vibes. And so he walked away. That doesn't mean stop. So it affected me now. If I'm playing a piano, like Ray lived with me in L.A., and when I play the piano, it's like I'm doing a concert for the angels. Like so, and then Bob is the one that put me in that state of mind. Like when you play, because people could be downstairs or wherever, but you don't know what you're doing to their heart or what they went through. So that was a great memory, and yeah, I remember that a lot.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for gracing our studios. We really appreciate, and thank you for the work that you are doing, and thank you for also choosing Kenya as one of the countries that are going to be incorporated in this project. Thank you for inspiring the younger generation. Just thank you for everything that each one of you is doing individually to just ensure that music goes on. We cannot wait to get the feel and listen to the journey continues. So we'll be keeping tabs with you on social media. Where can we find you?
So I'm on Instagram, jmalcom420. You could catch me there, and I'm gonna be updating, so you will know when it's out. All
right, your social media?
Razak Music.
Razak Music.
I'm on Muzi Wanajiro Jabali Africa. You know, you can find us there.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, this is where we end this conversation, but don't you go too far. Entertainment Thursday still continues. We have a lot more in store. Did I mention that we'll be having Chipukizi and Tosh Gitonga in studio, and they will be talking about the creative economy and just how do you get to make your money off of this industry, plus so much more. Steve Simpleboy will be here. We also have an artist who does gospel music. A lot more in store. Don't go too far.